Hello, and welcome to another episode of Run Till You're Done. Tonight, we are joined by someone who proves loudly and unapologetically that it is never too late to completely rewrite your life. Our guest didn't start running until his 40s, and since then, he's gone on to race some of the toughest and most epic ultra events on the planet, from the UTMB series to the wild landscapes of Chile and Spain, where he now splits his time. He's built a global following by being honest, raw, and refreshingly unfiltered about the highs, lows, and the absolute madness of ultra running. He's a coach, a storyteller, an adventurer, and a fantastic example of what can happen when you stop making excuses and you start moving forward. Welcome to the show, Ian Morgan.
Wow. Thanks, Nikki. And hi, Mike. Thanks for the introduction. I always feel like whenever I do a podcast, I feel like you're introducing someone else that's done a whole lot of things in their life. and for me, it's just what I do. So it's my normal everyday life. So I appreciate all the kudos though.
Well, not a problem.
Welcome to the show, Ian. Since it is your everyday life, tell us how did you first get into this being your everyday?
Well, I had quite a different life. I didn't do any sport. I did when I was in school, high school, and I did do some cross country and hiking and those kinds of things. But fast forward to my mid 40s, and I was in an ongoing court case with the government of New Zealand, fighting to change the law on a certain topic around insurance, and we had some big earthquakes. And I was under a lot of stress, a lot of pressure, trying to run a business. My marriage at the time was falling apart and in divorce. So I was under a lot of stress, a lot of pressure. And I thought, man, this is hard. Like I thought I'd made it. I'd bought the house. I had the cars. I had an amazing business. And I was really happy, or what I thought was happy. That was meant to be the definition of success and happiness, but I just felt quite empty inside. And not to say that it was the circumstances around me that were causing that, but it was more I wasn't being true to myself. And I just thought, when was I last happy? And I thought when I was a kid and I was running in the hills behind our house, just playing and mucking around. And I just thought, yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe if I just get up and run, I can catch that feeling again. Let's just say the first few runs, I didn't catch that feeling. Just about killed me. However, that was the turning point. It was just this, I don't know, desire to seek something out that was pure, simple, and something I could immerse myself in that wasn't all the noise that was going on at the time.
And do you think, looking back at the pre-running life, that is what you were looking for? Just what was it that you were searching for when you decided you wanted to start the running?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, at that point in time, it was escape. I'll be entirely honest. And, that sounds pretty immature. It's like, oh, well, you're going to literally run away from your problems. Yeah, 100%. That's how I felt at the time. Obviously, that's grown and developed. Now it's more a form of, meditation. It's part of me and what I do. It doesn't define me. And it allows me to do, just these incredible things that I never imagined. So, yeah, I mean, I would say, honestly, it was initially an escape.
And do you think there was a point, either a race or an event, that you just went, this is what I do now?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. There were probably 2 or 3 points like that. And probably the defining one that made me 100% commit to this is what I do now was when I collapsed in a race down in Queenstown, which is a mountain town on the South Island of New Zealand. And I was taken to hospital, and that's when they found out about my heart issues. And then I remember one of the doctors in the cardiac ward said, well, that's the end of your running days. Now you're going to have to take it easy and slow down. And I thought, no, I want to do the opposite. Now I want to embrace life and really live it. So yeah, I think that would have been the catalyst to really commit to this lifestyle.
Did you think that it's all over, but I'm going to live what I've got left? Or were you thinking, I'm going to change my life, I'm going to get fit, I'm going to be the best I can be?
Yeah, I mean, it's a combination of both, because, I looked at the research. I mean, I did actually go to 2 or 3 different cardiologists and then found one that was also an ultra runner. And they said, no, that's absolute rubbish. You can live a completely healthy life. You can do amazing things. You do have to make some fundamental changes. And probably a lot of it was related to how I dealt with stress. I mean, there was obviously diet and lifestyle, etc. But I had to look at a lot of different aspects of my life and say, okay, the things I can change, I have to. The things I can't change, I have to accept. But there's other things I need to try to do better with. And that was a turning point in a lot of different ways.
I'd like to ask, sorry, Mike, just to jump in. We're talking about your old life and this life. We say your old, it's almost like there's 2 Ians. Did you completely leave your job and everything as well to do this full time? And if so, how were you brave enough to leave like that financial security as such?
Well, the amazing thing about lying on an operating table and people poking around inside your heart is you stop giving a crap. Can I say that?
You can say whatever you want.
You stop giving a crap about what everyone thinks and what's going to happen, because the chances are you're not there the next moment. So it's kind of gives you a new perspective on how to live life, and you realize the things that you used to think were risky really aren't. The biggest risk is not taking a chance, is not trying to live a life that's more authentic to what, I don't know, you believe is the way you should live it. What's the worst that can happen? I mean, I've already been on the operating table. Okay, the worst that can happen is you don't get up from it. And, if you get a chance, you get up from it, you move forward. Now, don't take this the wrong way. I'm not suggesting that everyone just go and live their fantasy, leave their families and do whatever, and okay, I'm not paying bills anymore because that's not part of my plan. Okay. I'm a realist too. I realize it takes time and planning, and it's taken many years to get to the point where this became a relatively sustainable lifestyle. It wasn't just I woke up one day, transitioned into this, and 2 or 3 months later, wow, it's fantastic. It's been a lot of hard work in it, and I wouldn't say, there's obviously I'm still the same guy. My perspective has changed on some things, but it's not like, well, there's one life here and that's gone and now there's this life. It's just a transition. I think we all change through our lives. I mean, we're not the same as we were when we were in our 20s, are we? Right now. So, we move forward, we change things, some things stay the same. And I think as you get older, you start to embrace the new and the things that you really enjoy, and you start to leave a lot of the baggage that you've been carrying behind when you realize that really most of it isn't very important at all.
Listeners will know that I've had heart surgery as well, and there's been times that I've looked back at what you call your previous life in sort of pre-surgery, pre-heart condition. Has there been any points that you've thought, oh, that makes sense, that I had a condition? It's like or things like I've been up in the hills on my own in stupid temperatures, things that you really shouldn't be doing, even if you're 100% fit, and you just think, yeah, I shouldn't have done that. Is there any moments like that?
Yeah, I still do it. But yeah, having that surgery gives you an awareness around not just for your own life, but you start to think, okay, if something goes wrong here, then there's going to be people worried about me. Someone's going to have to organize someone to find me, and there's going to be consequences outside of, well, I'm just living my life and doing my thing, so you do have to take that into account, and plan accordingly for that. if I'm going to do anything really long, I'm going to let people know where I'm going. I do take emergency heart medication with me if it's the old nitro pill under the tongue, that kind of thing. So I you know, am more practical in the sense of I realize I do have a heart condition and I can't just like push it and the hell with everything. So yeah, you know, there's an awareness around that. And while I still like to take risks in certain areas, you know, they're calculated and managed.
Do you think that because you know about your condition, like I've been told that I've got a fully functioning heart now, and what I say to myself is, well, I know that I can push it now because everybody else in the race doesn't know what they've got wrong with them.
100%. Actually, this is a really good point, because when I was doing one of the stress tests, my heart actually stopped when I was on the treadmill. And the cardiologist who was doing the test, he got me on the scanner, and they did an echo of my heart, and you could see it beating and then stopping and then beating again. And it's a really weird sensation, you know, part of your heart shutting down while you're breathing. And then you feel the pain and the tightness. Back to the point that when I was doing the test, he said, well, that's kind of your limit where things start to go wrong with your heart. So now when I get to that point and I go past it, I think it's fine. It's all the pipes are cleared. Everything's working. The muscle's strong. Whereas someone else that doesn't know, they don't know when it's going to happen or how it's going to happen. But it's kind of like, you know, it's your Formula One engine's been taken apart and stripped down. It's been all been checked. Clean bill of health, back together. Now you're on the racetrack. Away you go. And yeah, you can push it a lot more. I didn't realize what fatigue was until I didn't have it after the heart surgery. You know, like the level of fatigue I was dealing with in training, and I thought that was normal. And then all of a sudden, your new normal is quite different.
So did you feel that or do you feel now that you were being held back previously?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I think over the last year I felt relatively okay was about 2020, 2021. And I came off an ultra race in Spain, a 100K mountain ultra race, Alta Pirineo. Then a few weeks later, I did the Barcelona Marathon, because at the time it was COVID, so they'd changed the date to the end of the year instead of in spring. And I think I ran a 2:50 at that marathon off the back of a 100-kilometer ultra. And I thought, wow, I'm just like on fire. I'm just like, keep going. I'm feeling really good. And then all of a sudden, my blood pressure shot up to something like crazy, 210, 220 over 160, something like ridiculous. And I felt like my heart was beating out my chest. And from that point, it sort of went away, and they gave me some pills. From that point, from about 2021, my performance started to deteriorate. And
I'm sure we'll get back to talking about the important things like heart conditions. But for now, you split your time between Chile and Spain. What's the sort of cultural differences between the two, particularly coming towards running?
Yeah, I mean, I think Spain is quite an established ultra trail and running community. They've been doing it for a long time. There's a lot of incredible events there. Whereas Chile, now it's very established. The first time I came to Chile in 2017, it was still a growing sport, but not huge. It was still sort of like, I don't know, it was still like in its early stages in Chile. So it was a developing, but still very small community. A little bit Wild West in some ways, which was quite cool, actually. But now I'd say Chile has certainly done a lot of catching up with the European type events in Spain. There's a difference in the sense that Spanish culture and Latino culture, while they're very similar, there are some quite big differences. There's a lot more music at Latin American events, a lot more music and dancing at the end. I don't know how they do it, actually. They just run a race, but yeah, it's in the culture. probably still a lot more community within the Chilean trail running space. A lot of people know each other, very connected. Whereas Spain is like that as well, but it's just so much bigger that you just don't know everybody. So it's a huge country, a lot of people, but both incredible trail running cultures, and I love them.
How do you?
Sorry, Mike.
Why are you split between the two?
I was going to ask the same.
Well, you want the truth? Okay. We love the summer. Me and my wife, Fran, who's also an ultra trail runner. We love the sun, and I lived in the south of New Zealand, which is quite cold and wet in the winter. It gets down to the -5, -8 frosts, sometimes a bit of snow, and that's fine. No problems with that. But I'd done that for 40-something odd years, and I just thought, if I get the opportunity to do this, I'd love to go from summer to summer. And Fran and I both like the heat. We both like the sun. So we thought, well, Fran's a Spanish citizen. I've got a residency there. I can live in Chile 6 months of the year on my tourist visa, or 3 months, and then renew it every 3 months after that. So it just made sense. Fran has a beach house here in Chile. So it's kind of like, why not? Why not go from summer to summer? And we tried it a few years ago, and we loved it. We just loved it. No more winter. We can choose winter, I think, would be the term. If we want to go to the mountains when it's colder, we can do it. But we choose to live somewhere that's sunny most of the time, and thought, well, we haven't got that many summers left, so let's double them each year, and then we can go from there.
Well, the forecast here just north of Aberdeen in Scotland tonight is -5. So
I can relate to that. I used to live in those temperatures. Nothing wrong with it, like I said, but if you're a summer person and a sun person, it just makes sense to be in these places. Also, like, who would not want, Spain, incredible food, culture. We live by the Mediterranean when we're there, in a town about 30,000 people. When we're here, we live between the beach and in Santiago and the Andes Mountains. Like, they're about that way, about 4 kilometers away, and I'm at the foot of the Andes, and away I go, and I can run up to 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 meter peaks. So yeah, I'm pretty lucky, actually. I must admit, I really do appreciate living between two countries, or the ability to. Yeah.
If I had the option.
But sorry, I was going to say, you say luck, but it's a life you've made for yourself. So
yeah, I still believe, like, I mean, part of it is, but part of it is just being in the right place at the right time, saying yes to opportunity, taking a chance. I mean, it's not all been smooth sailing. I haven't just transitioned into this, doing visas, paperwork, tax issues, all the related things. It's a bit of a nightmare at times, trying to, you're not really living anywhere, but you're always somewhere. So it's a bit like juggling at times. However, I love the lifestyle so much that's part of the price you pay.
Yeah. So you've done a fair amount of UTMB series races. I don't know if this is going to be a hard question for you to answer. Do you have a favourite?
Wow. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think, and I know it sounds cliche, but UTMB Mont Blanc it's just such a big event. Yeah, it's super commercial. Yes, all the brands are there, but so are so many people from around the world that you might be chatting with on social media, and you actually get to meet them in person. You get to experience that whole like vibe and buzz of the community, trail community, international trail community. Yeah, there are some aspects of it that go away pretty exhausted, to be honest, from that week, and that's before the race, just turning up. But I think that will be my favorite UTMB event. I mean, there's so many out there. We'd like to do some in China and Asia this year, which we're working on at the moment. So yeah, I can't say, that might change in the future, but for now, yeah, Mont Blanc.
And looking at your Instagram, you've obviously, as part of your transitioning, you've gotten a bit jacked. How does things like cardio, you don't want to ruin your gains to doing too much cardio, your macros, you don't want to be eating too much carbs, depending on which body of thought you go down. How does running fuel and running itself interfere with physique?
Once again, I don't really care that much about tracking anything. I think I'm genetically very lucky for some reason. I just, when it comes to race season, I'm just running so much that I just cut back. Obviously, I lose weight just because I'm just training so much. I just can't eat enough to maintain, a larger body weight. In the off season, I'll gain 3 or 4 kilos. That's cool. I don't really focus so much on like macros or, whether I'm losing or gaining muscle. If I want to gain muscle, I do like 6 weeks of like more intense gym and strength type workouts. And I seem to be able to, like, within 6 weeks, it's there. And yeah, maybe run a bit less. And then when I'm training for a mountain event, I'll lose a bit of the muscle and a bit of body weight just because of the sheer volume of what I do. And yeah, then I'm round about race weight. So I wish I could say it was cleverly planned and carefully measured. And my wife says, I hate you. She said, it's not fair. She said, Fran is like, she's measuring everything. And she said, how do you do it? It's not fair. She says, you're eating like chocolate and whatever croissants, and then all of a sudden 6 weeks later you're like, your abs are there and away you go. I think there's a certain element of once again I'd say luck in it, and also I think once you know your body, you realize that okay, this is going to take about 8 weeks to do, and I need to cut back on this and I need to do that. So you kind of get it used to the routines. But outside of the season, when I'm not really like racing, I'm quite happy. The abs will go. I get a little bit tighter around the waist, and I just accept that. That's cool because I know I don't have to be disciplined all year. I'm human. And what difference does it make? Like, who really cares? Like, yeah, for social media, okay, do the posts and it's like, I did them as a kind of a joke at first because someone dared me to do it, and then it took off. Social media is kind of a funny game, but so I've kept doing it and made let's be honest, like I laugh at myself a bit about it. I don't stand on top of mountains without a shirt standing like this. No one does. I just go on a run, but it creates traction, which creates followers and attention, which then allows me to do what I really want to do in this life. So it's kind of like a job that I do, but yeah, most of the time I walk around with a shirt on and I'm just a normal guy. So yeah.
Can I just say, and see if I had abs like yours, I would walk around showing them off.
So during race season, during hard training efforts, whatever, how do you fuel?
How do I fuel? I do watch things more carefully. Probably switch to a higher carbohydrate. During training, I tend to take on a fair bit of fuel, and racing even more. So it's kind of cyclical. It's like when I mentioned in the last question, I'll cut back on certain things and increase other things. So I do actually look at that side of it. I don't just wing it anymore because, as we get older, we do need every advantage we can to help us in our performance. So yeah, in that sense, I would increase carbohydrate intake, especially during and just after training, or probably pre, during, and post training. Not so much the rest of the time, but I do tend to have more in race season, just for the mere fact, if I didn't, I would probably get quite sick. My bloods would show that, I'm not fueling and eating enough. And I don't want to get into a situation where, it's another stress on the body. Something I can't reiterate enough in the sport is I don't think a lot of people eat enough. And I think it's really important that you do. Yeah, okay, it's easy to say, people say, you're a skinny guy, it's easy for you. Yeah, okay, genetically there might be something there that does make it easier. However, I'd rather be a bit bigger and well-fueled than, skinny race weight and like just a mess inside metabolically. So I think that's really important. Just eat enough and drink enough, people.
As Mike was saying as well, you've went from your previous lifestyle to jacked. Out with race season and where you're at now, because we know that you are a runner now. At the very, very start of your journey, from that amazing picture that's on the social media, how did you get from the very beginning to where you are at now? Did you just cut things that were bad for you back initially?
Yeah, good question, Nikki. I mean, I did initially. I knew myself well enough to know that if I had things in the house that I like to snack on, I was going to eat them, even no matter how much willpower or David Goggins videos or whatever I can't remember who it was at the time, but no matter how much motivation you have, you're just going to do it. Like that's me. I'm speaking from personal experience. So I just removed those from my diet for 6 months. And I said, if I can remove it for 6 months, and then I will reintroduce certain things. And if it's still a problem, then I won't have it anymore. If it's not, then, and what I learned is it wasn't so much the foods or alcohol or whatever that was the issue. It was actually, me and how my relationship with those things. So I think that changed. Removing them initially and then bringing them back in, I realized, a lot of things about myself, what I could manage, what I could. I don't like to use the word control, because then you've got an issue if you have to control it. But what I could have in my life and it was okay, and then what I couldn't. And so I think now I can eat, most things that I used to have around, because I just don't really feel like eating them all the time anymore. But there's still, there was a period of, say, 6 months where I said, cut everything, eat really healthy, really lean, plan and measure everything, and then get to know yourself and what you're good at, what you need to work on, and go from there. And to be fair, I did that for 6 months, then reintroduced some things, and then spent another 6 months to a year working on things like strength training and like building a more resilient body. I think would be not to look a certain way on Instagram, but the one that could put a pack on and hike up a mountain and do all these kinds of things. Very practical in the sense that I want to be able to do the sport for as long as I can. And I realized for me that because I'm 6'1", 187-ish centimeters, that if I'm carrying too much weight, that, I just don't feel good. I don't have the energy to do it. So I stay in sort of this weight range to be able to do that. But yeah, back to your question. Yeah, initial restriction and then reintroducing things. That is what worked for me.
And now everything in moderation.
Yeah, in moderation. I've got chocolate in the other room. I had some just before. Don't tell anyone, but and that's fine, because I don't have to eat the whole block at once. Your life changes in that sense. That you just change when you change the habit. Restrict something. In my case, and you don't have to restrict things. Some people can do it and just minimize things, and that's fine. If you know yourself and know that you're good at that, do it. There's no right or wrong way. It's what works best for you and what you want to achieve. I really think that everyone has got to find their way of doing it. It's a bit like training. There's a lot of different ways to get to the same point. Yeah, there's some obviously standard paths we can use and that are proven, but I think everyone has to do it their own way to get to that point, and the way that works best for you is the one that's going to be the most successful.
So thank you for that. That was a great breakdown on the diet and how you've got to where you are. You've had a lot of races, out with even UTMB. What is the hardest moment that you've ever had in a race, and what got you through it?
Yeah, that's a good one. I think most of them have been probably. This is a good question because there's two, but we'll say one. Probably one of the hardest moments was a DNF when I ran into a tree in the middle of the night. Now, random thing, I'd just been sent some new headlights. I won't name the brand. Some new model headlights from a potential sponsor to use, and I nothing new on race day except the new headlights. So I had two new headlights. Put one on. I was running through the night. It was raining. Got up to the top of the biggest climb and was running down through a forest. Still raining, and just in one instant, headlight was bright, just turned off. So shut off, and I ran. There was a branch like at about head height across the path, and the moment the light shut off, I ran into the branch and I smacked my head like you imagine running down a hill into a branch that you didn't realize was there. Knocked myself out. Woke up, I think about 5 minutes, I don't know. So I remember someone like shaking me, and I sort of came to, and then I said, no, I'm okay. The guy, person, I can't remember if it was a guy or a girl actually, said, are you okay? I said, yeah, I think I just ran into that tree. Must have thought I was loopy, got up, ran down the rest of the mountain, and then realized I had no balance. I couldn't put one foot in front of the other. I was stumbling. Got into the next aid station where actually Fran had come in the car to meet me, to crew me, and she said, you look terrible. It was like white. I think I've still got a picture somewhere of it. I was like white as a sheet. I couldn't like really even speak properly. So the doctor, I got into the aid station, Fran said, you're not finishing. You're not continuing. Saw the doctor, and he did the test with the light in the eyes, and he said, hospital, please. And they found I had pretty nasty concussion, pulled all the muscles in my neck as well, and the snapback on the neck actually. That was probably the hardest physical moment. I had to break my shoulder in a race too. And I had the heart attack. There's actually quite a few. Let's just stick with the first one. But that was a DNF that was hard because it was like, it's just such a random thing to happen. And as a footnote to that story, I sent that exact light back to the manufacturer because actually my head, it was sort of like just above the light, like on this top bit of the head. My head took the brunt of the branch. I sent the headlight back, and they actually found a fault with it. A wire had broken internally, and they did apologize profusely. So it happens. But yeah, that was probably one of the most challenging moments in a race.
And obviously that's outside interference, but do you have a point where you've actually felt that you've been pushed to your limits?
Running in the deserts in where was it? In the Sahara. In Tunisia, there was meant to be an aid station at a certain point in the middle of the Sahara Desert, middle of the day, running. So you're carrying a certain amount of water, but you know where the next aid station is. Well, that aid station was just meant to be a truck with like a small tent, sort of, portable marquee kind of thing over it. Well, that truck had broken down and hadn't got there. So they sent another truck to pick up the water and the tent to take to this place, and that truck broke down. So I got to the aid station just out of water, and there's no truck. And I look at the GPX and I said, okay, I'm on the right course. I've changed the course. There's nothing here. And another guy came through and he said, yeah, where is it? So we just carried on. And that extra, I think 15 kilometers, 10 kilometers plus another 15, so 25 kilometers in the middle of the day in the Sahara Desert without water just about killed me. Like, I got to the next aid station, I hopped in one of the land cruisers and they turned on the aircon, and I just sat there for 10 minutes drinking water. And that was, I didn't realize then until that point how much a lack of more severe hydration can affect you. And that was pretty dangerous. I actually started to pee blood, which is, obviously can be a sign of kidney damage and issues, more due to lack of hydration than anything. So yeah, that was a pretty challenging moment. But I didn't ever think of giving up. I just thought of just keep pushing through to the finish, which I did.
And have you ever thought of doing the races that I do now, backyard ultras? Do you even know what they are?
Yes. They're intriguing. I actually train a few clients in the US that do those. I think they're incredible. Yeah, I think that the mental aspect of it is something that I'm definitely going to have a crack at, because I just, I can only imagine, like, in your experience, what it's like to just, there's obviously the physical exhaustion and the lack of sleep, but mentally, where does that take you? And what happens at those points where, what is your limit? Can you keep going? Is what stops you? Is it the physical? Is it the mental? Is it a combination? Fascinates me.
Yeah, same with me. I don't think that I've reached my limit yet, and I crave to find it. So
yeah, I think that's a common theme amongst almost all runners, mostly ultra runners. Would you agree with that, Nikki? Do you find that you want to, you almost want to break yourself to see, okay, is there a point? Is there a point where I just can't go on, or can I just keep going until literally something stops me, like, whether that's physical or I literally can't crawl anymore? I think it's a fascinating thing. I think we're all a little bit broken inside somewhere, maybe as children, and this is why we're like this. I really don't know.
I definitely think the mental gets to you before the physical, 100%. If you've pushed yourself in any event, and this is for anyone, even from, like, smaller distances to the bigger ones, whatever it is your challenge, it's your mind will push you as far as it will take you.
For sure. And I think that's the fascinating thing. I think that's such a common theme. We're all searching for that point of where do I give up? Where is it too much? Where do I say no? Because I don't know, I think we've probably all been, and this is all relative to your experience, everyone's different. Don't try to say just because someone's done this that I'm a lesser or more person because of it, because everyone's experience is different, what someone's limit is. So I think that's really interesting. But I think the thing I've seen is people are a hell of a lot stronger than they believe they are.
Definitely.
I think I've seen some incredible things where I thought, man, why doesn't that person just give up? And it's things like, I'm not talking about the guys that run a marathon in 2 hours or come first in an ultra. I'm talking about the guy that comes in last at something like UTMB, that's leaning over like this and everything looks broken and 2 knees bloodied. Or the mother that runs into the finish line and 3 of the kids greet her, knowing that she's raising a family and doing this incredible thing. Those are the people that inspire me. And I just think, they're trying to do the same thing. They're trying to find their limits. What are they capable of? And it gives me a lot of hope for humans, actually, when I see that, because I think, man, we can do some incredible things if we put our minds and bodies to it. Yeah.
And related to what you've just said, I've said to people in the past, you are better than you think you are.
Yeah.
You are more capable of doing it. You just need to convince yourself that you can do it.
100%. I mean, how many times do we say that to other people? Yeah, you're going to smash it. You are so capable. But then we go to ourselves and we go, you're so stupid. Why did you do that? Why did that happen? Man, stop putting yourself down.
Yeah.
I know it's not, in our culture to lift ourselves up publicly, but we've got to pat ourselves on the back internally. It's such a big thing, because would you speak to your kids or your partner that way? Would you, the way you speak to yourself? And I think it's really important. Change that narrative. Start saying, yeah, man, I'm going to absolutely nail this. I'm going to push as hard as I can. I'm going to do it. I always visualize myself crossing the finish line, and it doesn't matter if I get there or not. The point is, that's the goal. And, you know, it's going to take quite a lot to stop me getting there. I think of the DNFs I've had, they've all been, of all the DNFs I've had, I think about three or four now, have all been medically advised. Well, medically, I've been removed from the race. I've never had one where I've actually just stopped because I didn't want to. So I've had relatively good reasons. Well, they're not reasons. I just got pulled from the race. So.
And something that they've just thought of, it might be medically told to stop the race, but hallucinations, have you had any? And what were they? Were they caused by whacking into a tree?
Actually, that one, no hallucinations there, but the ones where I've run through the night, or some of the multi-stage races where you've had like 100-kilometer stage and you're already tired from a couple of stages before that. Hallucinations, all the time. Pretty much enjoy them now. First time was a bit unsure, but now it's part of the course. You realize it's coming. You start to see people, tree as a person, and animals and things moving, and they're fascinating because it's so real when you see it. And then you realize the logical part of your brain says, you know, it's not real, but it's still there, and that's what you see.
Any highlights?
Just people dancing, people talking to me, and me starting to have a conversation with them. I can't think of animals, like just different types of animals, dogs, cats, rabbits, those kinds of things. But nothing. One that I wish was a hallucination, but it wasn't, was I was running in Mexico in the Copper Canyons, and some drug cartel guys from the in the area, Sinaloa cartel, were there. Came around the corner on motorbikes with machine guns and things, and they said, "You're not coming this way." I was, running in this race, and they said, "You're not coming this way, gringo." They said, this is our area. You got to go back that way. And I thought, oh, okay. So I had to take a shortcut to I wish that was a hallucination. That was a little bit scary.
I was going to ask, was that a hallucination, or did that happen?
No, it actually happened. Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's part of course ultra running. I think they realized, they knew a race was happening, so they knew. I think it was just I'd gone probably a little bit too close to where they were doing what they were doing. But that's okay.
Not that they were doing anything wrong at all.
Nothing wrong at all. Nothing wrong at all.
So from the scary and the lows of races, have you ever had a moment that you can remember now that jumps out that still gives you goosebumps?
Scaries and lows. Probably sudden moments, things like falling sometimes. Is like, okay, I'm by this cliff, I'm actually going over, and sort of not quite. Those moments can be pretty scary. Generally moments that they're not like scary, but in the sense of shocking, is like, standing on a snake, something like that, those kinds of things. Especially like when I was running around LA, a lot of rattlesnakes, those kind of things, like disturbing those, and they coil up and you think, oh shit, that's could bite me. It's more just a moment. But I've been bitten by dogs, I've been chased by various animals, snakes, whatever. You kind of get used.
Sorry, and what about happy moments? Like
happy
moments give you goosebumps in that way?
Yeah. Okay. Happy moments, probably so many, but probably ones that stand out. Running in Dubai in the desert, towards the border with Oman. and running in this area. It was like a sea of sand dunes, and watching the sun set, and just seeing like the shadows and the a million different colors or 1,000 different colors of pink and orange in the shadows over the sand dunes, and sort of running in that. And I was running with 2 or 3 other people, and we all just went quiet, and you're all just looking at this, and I'm just thinking, it just gives you goosebumps in the sense that, wow, it's like I'm here doing this, and just incredible. I think just so many moments like that when you're in these races and events, and you come around a corner and you see this mountain vista, like in the Dolomites, running there, seeing the sun come up over the mountains, seeing the sunset in the desert, just gives me goosebumps thinking about them. And I just think, this is what ultra running is. You get to see these places that and experience the act being in the place at that moment, that we just don't get so much in our normal everyday life. So I'm really grateful for those kinds of moments.
And we're going to move on to quick fire round.
Yeah,
we'll ask the questions quickly, or probably not. You can take as long as you want to answer it.
Okay.
You warned us pre-recording that you waffle on. That's fine with us.
Okay.
So, favorite race snack?
Favorite race snack? There's 2 or 3. I really like Mars bars when I'm running. I don't know why. I don't eat them the rest of the time, but Mars bars. That's it. I should say the gels my sponsors gives me, but I got to be honest, it'll be Mars bars. Yeah.
I think where you run, do they not melt?
If it's a mountain race, not so much. If it's a hot race, yeah.
Who are your sponsors?
Our sponsors for nutrition, Sport Hunger, which is it's kind of like the feed, but in Europe. They do all sorts of different nutrition products, and Bix Hydration, which is run by an ultra runner called Vlad, and they do some great products too, gels and powders, etc. So thanks guys, I really appreciate the support.
Not sure that you get either of those in the UK. I've not heard of them, so we'll have to look them up.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the quickfire question.
Back to the questions. What's next?
Motivation or discipline?
Discipline. Easy.
Favorite trail, Chile or Spain or anywhere else?
I don't want to get divorced, so I should I should say Chile. To be fair, my wife Fran is Chilena and Española, so she's Spanish and Chilean. So let's say Chile, with Spain a very, very close second.
What one race you'll never do again?
Should I say?
Yeah.
That's a tough one because I really like the race owners. Pass.
It doesn't even have to be for a bad reason. It's just it could be something even that you have peaked on that race, and that's the best time you'll ever get. Yeah,
I mean, I will probably say. Oh, no, I can't say that either. I was going to say the Boston Marathon because I've done it 3 times, but Fran wants to run it, and I want to run it with her. So yeah, that's a really tough one because I just love every race is so different, and I love them all, even the ones that don't go according to plan. So yeah, I'm going to have to pass on that one, guys. I'm sorry, I just can't answer it.
That's okay.
When you've mentioned the marathon major there, I'm going to throw in another quick fire extra. How many major stars do you have?
1. I've only ever run Boston. Yeah,
I'm saying just one as if I've got 5.
No. I never progressed. I love ultra running so much. I never sort of have gone back to do the road stuff. I enjoy the road stuff. I'll do a marathon now and again, jump in and a half marathon, but it just would take a lot of time and financial commitment to do the rest of the majors. I mean, if Abbott's is listening and you want to invite me, guys, I'm there. But yeah, apart from that, maybe I'll do it when I'm 60. Let's see.
I always find ultras, the question is, did you complete it? You mentioned you've done marathons, so what's your PB?
I think 250, 248, 250, something around that. So I'm not a fast road guy. It's something I haven't really focused on. You know, I run about a 248, 250 marathon, about a 118 to 120 half. But it's not my thing. I enjoy it. And I think, you know, I had a coach a few years ago that said, you know, if you focused on this for 6 months, you could probably really do a lot better in that area. But I just love trails so much that, yeah, I couldn't give 6 months up just to pound the pavements. Yeah, it's just not my thing.
And the last question that we have on the quickfire round is, you have built a big following by being unfiltered and open. Has that ever felt risky?
No, not at all. I mean, let's be honest, it's not real. Like, I'm not being like disrespectful to followers or social media, but it's all, I'm known for posts with me being fat and then shirtless with abs. Like, come on, it's not, don't take yourself so seriously. Like, I think you've got to accept that I'm grateful for what I have. It's allowed me to do so much, but if I'm not being myself, then what am I doing it for? Like, really? Like, yeah, there's a bit of promotion and advertising, and yeah, I do like do some stuff that's going to, like, you know, trigger the algorithm to help with follower growth and exposure. But it's like work. It's like anything else for me. It's how I make my living. So yeah, I don't take myself too seriously. Like, I'm a 55-year-old guy, you know, posting shirtless pics on Instagram. Like, come on, like, you know, like you got to laugh that you know, it's allowed me to do what I do. I'm also very grateful to the people that follow me, and it's no, like I said, no disrespect to them at all. But I think when you start taking yourself too seriously and think that you're important or someone, you know, that look at me, then you should walk away and do something else, because you know, like, it's just luck, isn't it? Let's be honest. There's a million people in the world that can do it and that do it. And there's people that have millions of followers that do this. So I really just, like, you know, yeah, wake up each day, super grateful I get to do it. But yeah, I'm still going to be me, do it my way. If people like it, great. If they want to follow, great. If not, that's cool too.
And moving or staying on that topic, the social media sort of things, we already said that you'd had heart surgery.
Yes.
I can relate to that because being there myself. How do you think that has shaped you as a person, as an athlete, as your social media presence?
Yeah, no, that's an interesting one, because that's actually how I got on social media. My daughter, my doctor, and then said you should carry a phone when you run, because I didn't used to carry a phone when I ran before that. So I started to carry a phone and started to take pictures and things. Well, I mean, I didn't carry a phone much. I didn't really take social media seriously. And my daughter said, hey, look, you should post some of this stuff on social media. Now you're carrying a phone. The places you run, they look super cool. That's how it started. So kind of I have to thank, like, having the heart problems that led me to really expose, you know, what I do and the running side of things and social media, and that's how it all grew. So yeah, you know, the heart thing has been an interesting story, because it's something I wasn't comfortable talking about at first, but as it's happened and it's evolved, I've seen it's a really good thing to share, because so many people do have issues, or they're worried about those things. So it creates an awareness around it as well. You know, go and get checked if there's an issue. Take better care of yourself. There's a whole lot of messages, I think, that you can unpack from that's come from the heart issue. But Yeah, it's certainly something that I've embraced on social media, and it's helped me. In some ways, I thought it would cause issues, but it's done the opposite. It's actually created like a new opportunities to do things and get the message out there about heart health and health in general.
So social media gets a lot of bad press because it is evil, it's horrible and all that. But if you use it correctly, it has got a good side to it.
100%. Yeah, I think that's the key. You hit the nail on the head. It's like a tool. It's something if you can pick it up and put it down and use it for good, it's great. You can also use it for bad. Okay, you just get to decide which one of those you're going to use it for.
Yeah.
And do you get many messages from people that have had similar heart health issues, or like even thanking you for raising awareness and something that they didn't know about and went and got checked?
Yeah, definitely. Lots, all the time, every week, messages from people with all sorts of issues. Although I must say, all the people that ask and ask what they ask me, what should I do? I would say, please go and speak to your cardiologist. I'm not a doctor. I'm not an expert in heart health. Just because I don't take a certain medication, I've talked to someone about that, and we've discussed it, with my doctor, cardiologist, and various medical advisors. Doesn't mean that you shouldn't take yours or do what you're meant to be doing. So please, seek the proper advice. There's a lot of medical advice on social media, and there's a lot of people that will tell you to not do this and take this instead and do that. Everyone's different. I think, yeah, so I do get a lot of people reach out, but yeah, that would be the one thing I've learned from it. We're all different. Find your own path, get the best advice possible.
Yeah, and a doctor, if he's worth being a doctor, he's never going to complain that you've wasted his time and there is nothing wrong.
Yeah, 100%.
Better to find out that there's nothing wrong.
Yeah, definitely.
So, moving on from that bitty somber topic there, but running achievements or athletic achievements or life achievements, what's your biggest achievement?
Oh, wow, that's a big one. Wow, I mean, we've got 4 grown-up kids. They're all still functioning and alive. I think that's pretty good. Well, I think that might be due to, not just due obviously to me, but to their mother as well. So and them. Running achievements. Wow, I think I still don't know. Everyone is just great in its own way. I mean, I've had a few podiums in my time, but that sometimes the best races are the ones where you feel that you gave it everything, and it doesn't matter where the placing was, but that on the day you gave it everything you had. Other times I've placed quite well in the event, but I know that I could have tried harder, pushed harder, and I've maybe not cruised in and just knowing that I was in pretty good shape and that the competition maybe didn't have such good days. So yeah, that's a hard one. I mean, finishing UTMB Mont Blanc was a biggie. That's the only 100-miler that I just cannot figure out the formula to. I've run so much fast 100-milers, so that's an interesting one. That's why I keep going back, because I need to crack that code. It's my I don't know. It's that one race that's elusive. Anyway, life achievements, getting to 55 and I'm still here after numerous health issues. Finding a wife, Fran, my current wife, Fran, who just gets me, being with a partner. I don't think that's an achievement. That's just like a bonus to everything. Makes everything so much easier and better in my life. Couldn't do what I do without her. She was the one come visit me in hospital every day when I was having the heart surgery. I was in there, remember, 4 times over 2 months because they had a couple of problems with a couple of the surgeries. And she would just be coming and give up her own life for that time until I was better and ready to come back here. Backs me up 100%. Supports me Big kudos to her. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's really all I can think about. I don't like what achievements is in, what business I had or what car I drove or how many houses I had when I was in doing that kind of thing. Because they're really not important to me anymore. Just waking up each day, being happy. That's pretty much it.
And do you run for performance, adventure, or something deeper? What is your why?
My why? Big one. I'm alive. Simply, when I wake up each day, I'm alive. When you've had your heart stop a few times, you really appreciate everything. Everything. I've got coffee that a machine makes. Wow. It's amazing. It's incredible. The smell of it each morning. You start to appreciate everything that's simple in your life and the good things. Yeah, there's a lot of noise and there's always going to be issues and problems to solve and things to fix. But none of it really matters. Biggest thing for me is my why is I'm alive and I get to enjoy this life. That's it.
And next question, it could be a really deep, long answer, waffle on all you want, or it might just be one word. What do you think about when you're running?
Oh, yeah, it's not so deep. Generally, I just switch off. I'm quite meditative. That's why I think I like trail running. When I was on the road, I was listening to music and podcasts, and that's great. Nothing wrong with that. But obviously, safety first, not running across stoplights and things, being aware of what's around you. But when I'm on the trails, I just love nature. I love the lack of noise. And I don't just mean physical, but mental as well. I don't know. I kind of immerse myself in the experience and just switch off. Sometimes I'm running with Fran and she says, "You're quite quiet. What are you thinking about?" So nothing. Maybe that's a guy thing. I don't know. We do get called out sometimes if we really are actually not thinking of anything in particular. So yeah, other times I solve things that have been maybe I have to solve some problem or issue that's kind of been on my mind, and with everything else going on when I'm in front of a computer and working and on social media, when I'm out on the trails, kind of can put everything into perspective and then make a plan of action. Kind of not in the sense that I'm thinking about it, but it just starts to fall into its right place. So maybe seems like a big problem, but it shrinks back down to what it actually is. And then it's like, okay, take the next steps to do it. But a lot of the time, it's just about switching off and just being in the moment, being in nature. There's a mountain behind us about 2,700, 2,800 meters high that is a beautiful climb, quite technical at the top. You've got to do a little bit of climbing. And, I just go up to the top of that and I can see the border of Argentina over there and the Andes Mountains and the biggest mountain in South America on the distance. It's about 6,500 meters, I think, high. And I just think, yeah, it's pretty happy. Just sit there quietly for 5 minutes looking at that and really just let it wash over me. I'm a pretty simple guy. I don't need a lot of distraction.
And do you have any projects or events or anything, any races coming up that you want people to know about?
Yes. So we'll be doing some work with UTMB again this year and some of their races. So, one of those will be UTMB Mont Blanc again. We're, like I mentioned earlier in the podcast, we're going to hopefully we're working on some stuff in China. We're going to go and race over there. So that should be exciting. And also, not just in Chile for the sunny weather, and because my wife lives here, I'm working on a project here with one of our sponsors that we're still putting together. I can't say too much about it right now. However, it's a multi-day endurance project and it's going to be a lot of fun.
And do you have any races that are left on the bucket list that you would still like to do?
Yeah, I'm going to run out of life before I get to do everything. I'd love to come over. Actually, this is another thing I might scout out this year. I'd love to come over to the UK and look at some of the races. Like, I mean, there's the big ones, the Spine race, the Dragons Back Through Wales. These kind of things I see and I think, yeah, they're quite cool. Like running. Look at that. Look at that. You know, I like those kinds of challenges, those multi-day or challenging condition kind of events where you have to push yourself. So, yeah, I haven't raced enough in the UK, to be fair, because I'm usually tied up in Europe. So I'd love to come over there and do that. Obviously, China is one on my bucket list as well, and Asia. I think there's some incredible races there, and I know it's exploding over there, and we haven't even seen the tip of the iceberg in that yet. And yeah, there's just so many. There's some that are quite out of the way in places like Georgia and sort of countries that aren't on the ultra running map as such. But there's just some incredible places that I've heard from other people and seen them run that I'd like to explore further. But like I said, I think I'm just going to run out of life. So I'll do my best to get around them all. But I think, yeah, definitely a trip to the UK is on the cards. Come and check out what you guys are doing over there. I see some amazing stuff. And certainly up north there, man, you've got some beautiful countryside up that way. Just incredible.
And while Ian was answering that question, I was pointing at my T-shirt, so the Tunnel Ultra. So
there's not much scenery in that, Ian. You're running through a tunnel for 200 miles backwards and forwards.
That sounds pretty cool, actually. Like, I think the mental challenge of that is just incredible. Yeah.
We'll talk about it off air. Next question. Another possibly deep and meaningful one. Do you have anybody that you would like to go for a run with, either alive, not, fictional, real? Up to you.
You know, I got to be honest. Once again, I love running with my wife. Like, and I'm not just saying that because she'll listen to this. We actually get on so well. Like, this is how we started our relationship when we were just friends, and then obviously it grew into something else. But we just both love to be outdoors and run, and we can spend hours a day out on the mountains. We've run 100K ultra together in the south of Chile in Patagonia around a active volcano. You know, we just click, and we can just we just enjoy each other's company so much that yeah, I mean, I'm just drawn back to that again and again. We just really love spending time together out in these wild places. You know, there's all the fast people and people. I mean, I've been in races with Killian, but the thing is, you know, I can't keep up with the guy. It's just impossible. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'd say my wife. She'd be number one on the list.
And I follow Fran on Instagram as well, and she looks so awesome.
She is freaking awesome. I gotta say, I mean, I'm biased, obviously, but yeah, we just have a really good relationship because we're just both so passionate about ultra running. I mean, she's going to be 60 this year, and she's still running races. You know, she's still, she just loves it. Absolutely loves what she does. She loves to be in the outdoors. She loves running. So I know, I think that rubs off on me while I'm out there with her. So yeah, it's kind of like feeds the fire a bit.
And she also looks incredible. She doesn't look even though she is even near 60.
I don't know how she does it. I'm sure it's genetic. She says it's exercise and diet, but I'm sure it's genetics because I don't know how she does it. She looks way younger than me. Like, I don't know how she does it.
Sorry, Ian, but I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah, it's true. She does. Everyone thinks she's we were at a function actually the other week, or she was, I should say, and she just the new president that just got voted in here in Chile. He said he thought she was 40. He said, "Are you?" You know, they were talking about something, and she said, "I'm celebrating it's his birthday." He said, "Yeah, I'm going to be, I don't know, 60 something this year." She said, "Yeah, I'm going to be 60." He said, "No, I honestly don't believe it. You look like you're in your 40s." And that's what most people say when they meet her. She actually does look like her Instagram, like her social media. They're not filters.
Yeah.
I don't know how she does it. Anyway, maybe I said to her, just go and like sign a contract with like one of the face cream people in Paris. Just say you use it. Just lie and say. I said, because people will believe it and you'll make a fortune. I said, okay, yeah, it's not the truth, but man, you'll be able to sell it because look at you. Anyway, yeah.
See, so she says that you're so lucky and whatever you can eat whatever you like and you still look the way you are. She is so lucky because she has the beautiful skin, as you say, and she looks incredible as well.
I don't know how she does it. Yeah, but I mean, yeah, like I said, I am incredibly lucky. She's with me. I don't know why, but she is. So yeah, I must have a lot of luck on my side.
And unless Mike has anything else that he wants to ask, the final question we have is, and it's quite philosophical, it could be, if someone that is listening to this episode is stuck in life right now and running or in their own head, what is the first step that you would tell them to take?
I know it sounds cliche, but where you are now is not where you're going to be. Never give up. Like it's true. Every time I've been in a hospital bed, I've just come out of surgery, I've just had a broken bone. I caught COVID in 2020 and was in isolation ward and had my lungs 70% blocked with COVID pneumonia, one of the nice early versions. And all these things, I just thought, what can I do today to make a difference? What can I do that's going to move me forward in some way, whether that's mental or physical or spiritual or whatever, works for you. So just don't give up. Where you are now is not where you're going to be in the future. Things do change. I'm not going to say it's all going to work out and it's going to be better, but while you're alive, there's always a chance that things can change. So yeah, just don't give up. Like seriously, I'm living proof that if you just keep taking the next step, you can get to the place where you want to be. Doesn't mean it's going to be easy. Doesn't mean you're not going to have setbacks. But man, just keep going. Don't give up.
And that brings us to the end of our questions. It's just from me, from a Chile, Scotland, to say thank you, Ian, for coming on the show. Thank you, Nikki, for being Nikki, and it's goodbye from me.
Thanks for coming on, Ian.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Nikki. It's been a lot of fun, and I'd love to hear more about your story sometimes.